Anyways, welcome to Zany Talks after I go crazy.
Yes, you do.
I am back,
guys.
He is back. And
I apologize if you didn't see me the first time. That's not my fault, that's his.
it's not my fault either. It's all of our faults. We won't talk about it. Because it didn't happen.
What?
Yes. Very small talk to begin off the episode. We're now roommates.
Yeah, both of us just moved to Alexandria, got a 2-bedroom apartment.
I bought him a chair for Christmas.
Yep.
He hasn't built it yet, and he hasn't even been using it.
Merry Christmas. I built him a computer, and he didn't know how to use it.
Well, I did, and then I moved, the computer, and then I plugged everything back in.
I taught him.
And I plugged it in wrong.
You know, he didn't listen to my lesson. I drilled that point into you.
Yes. And I remembered it for all of Sunday. Then I didn't. Then all of Sunday didn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pro tip, if you're building a computer and you have a graphics card, do not plug it into the motherboard, your monitor into the motherboard. It causes a lot of issues, and sometimes it doesn't even work. Always use the dedicated graphics card on your machine.
I crashed Task Manager.
That's surprisingly not as hard as you think it is.
The more you know.
The more you know, guys.
Also,
Future Thomas edited that in, so it's like the thing. You know the thing.
In mine and Eric's attempts to fix it, I don't have. I can't connect to Wi-Fi anymore.
Did you uninstall your drivers?
Eric did when we did a complete reinstall of Windows and everything, and then he didn't reinstall the drivers. So I need to go talk to him at some point.
Do you have Ethernet connectivity?
Yeah, that's the only reason I still have internet.
Just go out and download the drivers and install them.
Yep. I don't know which drivers to get, which is why I need to
You want me to just send them to you over Discord?
Why not?
Okay. I'm the IT guy. Eric is supposed to be the IT guy.
He's in the same apartment. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, this is why I tell him to go do stuff.
Yeah.
This is the thing. Eric is the Express IT guy. Thomas is the IIT guy.
IIT guy. What is that supposed to mean?
We'll find out.
We'll find out later.
Yes. Plus, this drink
Find
I
out
got
more in a
from
future episode.
Deja Blue is really good. It is, I think it's the butterfly Italian soda. It's really good.
Yeah, off the Pages of Ink menu.
Yes. It is really good.
I gotta say, they really have good...
we need a drink menu here.
Yeah, we need to work on a drink menu. We need to come up with ideas.
We need the Zippy Zany. It has as much caffeine as possible inside.
You know, that might just be my classic. The Zippy Zany, which is just a plain cappuccino with an extra shot.
We need to add like 5 extra shots.
Mm-hmm.
No, we'll call that the Thomas Special.
The Thomas Classic.
Although, something to consider, a standard shot of espresso does not have as much caffeine as a normal cup of coffee.
No, it doesn't, but it's more concentrated.
Correct.
That's why if we add 5 shots of
my
espresso...
normal is, it's a large cappuccino, extra shot, nothing else. Sometimes I like it dry, too. So, that's a total of 4 shots of espresso in a cappuccino. Yep.
I like my coffee strong enough to show up on my drug test.
They don't test for that.
Good thing.
Good thing, yes. Very good thing.
I like my coffee how I like my liver black because of the coffee. Or no, my kidneys, my bad. I screwed up that one.
What are you having in your coffee that it's making your liver black?
That's some strong alcohol in there.
In the wise words of our D&D character, Tacky. Long may he be disappearing.
You know,
whiskey makes everything better.
You asked about the forest. You guys are really close to the campsite where Tacky disappeared. You go through the forest, you find your old campsite.
I go.
You know what? It's funny. Maybe if Tacky's one of the guild lords.
Tacky definitely needs to be one of the guild lords. I'm just saying. And here we are talking about D&D again.
Hey, you know what? Last episode, I don't think we mentioned D&D once.
No, you did.
I did at the beginning.
You were talking about art and drawing. It's your fault.
Did I mention D&D?
You were talking about drawing D&D.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That happened at the beginning of the episode.
The streak continues, guys.
It has. It always will be. But anyways, today's topic may have to involve a warning. Today we are talking about failed weaponry. Now, this means that weaponry that was obsolete because of a past war or anything like that. Now, the warning's not for that. The warning is if we stumble into any of the more gruesome parts of World War II, or any other types of wars, aka the Holocaust or any POWs in Japan. So,
don't think that has quite too much to do with failed weaponry. That might need to be a warning for future episode.
Yes, there's still a warning because we are talking about war and weaponry. I am going to issue a warning. If you wish to not listen to this episode from this point on, that is all right. Now, we continue. One of my favorite failed weaponry. I shouldn't say failed, but never existed.
It was a concept.
It was a concept. Thomas, I told you about this. Do you already have it up? No, you have the mouse up.
Which one did...
I didn't send you any yet.
Those are all yours. I don't have
I will find it real quick. I am talking about the Ratata.
Oh, the Ratata.
You know, it might be faster for you to search it up.
Okay.
That's a Pokemon.
It's a tank, right?
Yes, it is a tank. It is a massive tank. Put in tank afterwards. Or I'll just send you a photo.
Tab equals NK.
That.
You might as well just put that tab up there. There's somebody. There we go. Now this beautiful tank is called the Ratata. The Ratata was outfitted with about 20 diesel motors, had a personal garage, was crewed by about a lot of Germans, can't remember the amount, had anti-air guns, had a battleship turret on the front, as you may see, had 2 tank turrets in the back, and then another tank turret in the front.
Is that just a battleship?
Pretty much a land battleship, yes.
They put the battleship on wheels.
This thing weighed a lot of tons. I can't remember the exact metric of it. And
Give me a minute.
it was never made because it would take a lot of materials, and that would have got stuck a lot. And you wouldn't be able to cross any bridges because it was just too heavy.
Land Cruiser P1000 Ratata. We're talking 1,000 tons. That's 1,000 tons. Jeez. Dimensions. We're looking at 128 feet with guns forward, 46 feet width, and 36 feet high. Crew, as many up to 41. Normal operating crew around 20. And let's see, 5.9 to 14.2 inches of armor.
Is that in the skinniest places or average?
Skinniest places is 5.9. Largest is 14.2 inches.
Yeah. So this was part of, I believe, Hitler's wonder weapons, or something like that.
Guess what? It could travel up to 25 miles per hour.
Which is actually terrifying for that big of a beast.
1,000-ton thing. Just going 25 miles an hour down the road. That doesn't seem like very fast, but
that's like driving through town at 30 miles per hour to really do it. And that thing's massive?
Yeah. Never actually built. This one, however, was kind of
very similar.
This is the heaviest tank ever built, the Panzer VIII Mouse.
Yes.
I believe I have a photo of that one.
Yep, should be... There you go.
So, there's the Panzer VIII Mouse in all of its tiny glory because it's a bad quality photo.
Yeah, that thing can crash bridges because it's so massive. Or so heavy.
There were very few in Germany that it could cross.
Mm-hmm.
This one is significantly smaller. Has a mass of about 188 tons. It's about 33 feet long and 12 feet wide and 11 feet tall. The thickest armor plating was only 8.7 inches. The thinnest was 5.9 inches.
This one was actually built, right?
Yep.
Yes. This
Completed July of 1944.
So there's actually a few of them made too.
Yep. Where is it? Maximum speed, 12 miles per hour. There were a few issues with this one. As I said, there were only a handful of bridges that could actually cross. If it ever had to actually cross a river, it needed to go underwater. It was running a diesel engine and could not itself drive underwater. So what you would have to do is disconnect the diesel motor from the drive shaft, completely seal off the tank, connect the drive shaft to another mouse on one side of the river, and use that to drive across. Remove the sealing, put it over on the other one,
Okay.
and repeat the process.
They had to cross in pairs.
Yep.
And wasn't there, like, in the manual for the mouse, to figure out if ground was too mushy?
I believe it legitimately said in the manual for it, if you think the ground is too soft, get out of the tank with another crew member, firemen carry him on your back, stand on one leg, and then jump up and down. If your foot sinks into the ground at all, the ground is too soft, the mouse is going to get stuck.
I love this logic.
We're on the topic of big tanks. Thomas, could you please bring up the tank, the TOG?
The TOG, okay. Give me 1 second here.
I sent you that image.
I got it right here.
Now this beautiful TOG. It's not up yet.
Give me a second. Takes a little bit more than you think.
Now
there's the TOG.
the TOG. It's a long boy. This guy was built to think that World War II was going to be another trench war, which it wasn't. The TOG was a lot long, so it would be able to drive over trenches, and was very, very, very slow. So, it became very obsolete, and only one of them was made. It's in a museum in Britain. It's a British tank. But yeah, it was very slow, had very thick armor though, and its main gun was not that powerful.
But it could go over trenches.
Yes. So if it was made in World War I, it would have been a very effective tank. But since it wasn't, our poor boy was never used in battle.
Pretty cool looking tank though.
Yeah.
It's a long boy.
I believe Russian Badger did a video just on this tank.
Really?
I think it's
In World of Tanks.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure it's in World of Tanks.
Yes.
We just talked about this one.
And I think there's like a hot dog skin for it in that game too. Which is pretty funny.
I'm just thinking about the Oscar Mobile tank.
Yeah, pretty much. But British.
Yes. The sausage mobile.
And then there's well, Brandon, looks like you have something pulled up.
Yeah, another British weapon. Going away from tanks this time. The Great Panjandrum.
Panjandrum.
The idea of it was capable of being deployed off on the shores, and it was going to be an explosive-laden cart.
Yeah, this was supposed to help with D-Day, wasn't it?
Yep, you can see it's got the rockets on the side of the wheels, which were meant to propel it forwards. They were never getting it quite right with the direction. Oftentimes, they would just begin spiraling and spinning out of control. Eventually, just turning around and heading right back out into the water.
Mm-hmm.
Not very useful. The rockets would detach and fly into random directions.
They put chaos on a wheel and let it loose.
Mm-hmm. There's a few things that went really wrong with this idea. One is it was supposed to be kind of a secret project, but then they began testing it on a public beach in Britain.
Oh god.
So it wasn't really anything secret about it. when they got one that they thought would work better, they had doubled the amount of rockets on the wheels to get it more speed to get up the beach, hopefully control it a bit better. There was all these people around. One person was documenting it, and they set it off, and everything looked like it was going good. The guy who was documenting it all of a sudden noticed that the people next to him were beginning to run away, and when he looked up to wonder why, it had skewed its direction and begun flying towards them. Before it eventually turned around back, heading towards the ocean, not before sending a few of the rockets on the wheels flying off in directions, and I believe actually hitting a couple people.
Jesus.
Okay, so talking about explosive moving things, Thomas, this might be something you need to search up again, because I don't have any pre-recorded images like our dear Brendan here. But you might not need to find one for this. A common thing that people have tried doing in the past. Now this is where my warning came in, because this is animal cruelty in its deepest forms. Multiple times through history, people have tried using animals for warfare in the ways of explosives.
I've got 2 of them in mind.
Earliest Revolutionary
4 of them
War.
Oh wait.
People, I believe. Yes, there's the bat bombs too.
Bat bomb.
People
That's
tried. I believe it's. I think it's the South that did it to the North. I'm not sure.
That'd be Civil War, not
Yes.
Revolutionary.
Oh, I said Civil. I meant Civil War. My bad.
Well, that's the.
There's a big difference. One side tried strapping donkeys with explosive barrels, lighting them and then sending them towards the enemy. Unfortunately, this did not work because the donkeys wanted to stay right next to their owners.
Mm-hmm.
No people were harmed except for one donkey that exploded.
The trials did not go over well.
I got
a few too.
3 weapons in mind that all had to do with
animals.
animals. One was World War II Russian idea. They would train dogs to run under tanks for cover with anti-tank mines attached to them. Timed explosives. Slight issue with the training is how this happened is they weren't training them in live fire, so when they actually deployed them, the dogs got scared and ran back to the handlers. Also, the only tank they had to train them with was the Russian T-72 Tiger.
Yes.
So, where would they immediately go for cover? Their own tanks.
Yep.
Another one, like you had seen earlier, was the U.S. idea of bat bombs to deploy to Japan before we eventually sent them to really large fireworks.
Yes.
The original idea was, since most structures in Japan at the time were highly flammable, you could attach a firebomb to a bat, send it out, and it would find shelter in one of the houses or nearby structures, and the timed fuse would go off at some point during the day. So all you'd do is you'd fly a plane over, release all the bats, they'd find places, and then at random times you'd have fires springing up all over Japan.
Yes.
The issue with this one wasn't that it failed because something went wrong. It worked too well in the testing phase that the United States ended up burning down a couple barracks on U.S. soil. So they decided to
roost.
So while testing it, they ended up destroying a good number of their own buildings and decided to scrap the idea.
This one, my friends, I don't think was ever implemented. Thomas might have to check me on this one. Possibly. But have you ever heard of the pigeon missile?
Yes.
So, the plan of this was to have pigeons fly a missile. The pigeons were trained to peck at a dot in the middle of the screen, aka a ship, to steer the missile towards the ship and blow up the ship.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Tom's doing it.
Give me a moment. Pay patience.
I know, but I don't know anything of where this went, but yeah, the pigeon would be in the missile, and then would peck at the ship to steer the missile.
Active radar.
Yep, pretty much. I don't think this was ever implemented because it was just going to be too expensive to train pigeons to do it. So we made modern missiles instead.
Yeah, there was a similar design at some point which used a cat, and I can't remember how that one worked.
Well, have you ever heard of the cat spying device?
I
think
so.
it's the CIA that outfitted a cat with, like, surgically. So another reason why I put the warning on this video. Surgically inserted microphones into a cat to listen to conversations.
No, I'm just...
On its first mission, it got hit by a car.
I see a fatal flaw with this.
Animals are terrible for warfare? Yes.
No.
The cat purring?
Yes. Cat sitting in the lap, it's purring away as
Yes.
they're talking about something confidential. The mic just... I can't hear anything other than the cat purring.
Yes, it worked. I think it sort of worked and then got hit by a car. Or a bus or something.
Yep. Super out of cat.
Yes, but let's head back to a more weaponized state of mind and not animal weapon eyes. Because, as we've just talked about, training animals to do things can go terribly wrong and it is expensive.
What do you mean training a pigeon to fly a missile's expensive?
Yes.
Do you know from experience?
No. Because that would make me very cruel to animals.
It's just pecking a dot.
Here's a weapon that it has been implemented, and I've talked about before, but the Gustav rail cannon.
The rail
This
cannon.
was a railway cannon
Big
that
Gustav.
I believe had bigger rounds than a battleship.
Mm-hmm.
It was on train, right?
It
Yep.
was trained, but
That's not Ghost of Rail.
G-U-S-T-A-B.
Yes.
How do you know that?
the best part is
I've looked this up.
Yes, I am sad because all three got destroyed. There's 3 of them ever
The
made.
Big Gustav, the Long Gustav, and I can't remember what the third one was.
Yes.
I think it was
the
another-
third
the
one
same.
was in midway of production. But I'm so sad because I wish one of these survived, and because this would be such a cool historical piece to go look at in a museum.
Yep.
That's quite a cannon.
I believe it was big enough that a person could walk down the barrel. After firing a shot, I think you had to wait 3 to 4 hours
I believe.
or longer for the barrel to cool down. So you
I believe
melt it.
it would also jump when it shot. 2. It's on 2 railways, by the way. That's not just one railway. That's
No.
2.
This is a dual line.
Yes.
Yeah, it had to
Turning it took, I think, hour, 3 hours, something in that, because you had to build tracks to move it, pretty much. To move it like long distances had to be on train, but there was an idea to put this thing on tracks, like the Ratata, on a moving platform.
God. And
Never
this-
conceived, but yes.
And this is why wartime is great for innovation, but is also terrifying.
Yes.
Because
So,
people come up with ideas like this.
did you find fun things about
The
it?
barrel length was 106 feet and 8 inches long. It weighed 1,350 tons.
This was heavier than Ratata, of course.
Yep.
Only by 300 tons, though.
Yes.
The diameter for it was 800 millimeter.
Which is massive, by the way. Thomas, can you find a picture of someone standing next to a shell?
I can see if I can.
Never mind. I thought there was.
Yeah. This thing had like an elevator on it. Though you see the back area right there? That's an elevator to bring shells up. And I think there's a shell right there on it.
Oh yeah, Dora was the name of the third one.
Okay, this is not what I was looking for, but...
Yeah, it's Thomas the tank engineer next to it.
Yep. That's kind of funny.
Yep. So, the Big Gustav and the Long Gustav. The Long Gustav fired 31-inch caliber, or 80 centimeters. It could fire 2 different types of ammunition: concrete piercing and high explosive. The concrete piercing weighed 15,653 pounds with a 551 pound explosive filling. The high explosive weighed 10,582 pounds with a 1,543 pound explosive filling.
That's not what I want. Come on.
The range was about 20. It could shoot about 24 to 30 miles.
Yes. That's a person next to the high explosive round.
Yeah. That is massive.
Yep. The long Gustav only fired, I believe, just a straight round, not concrete piercing or highly explosive, but had a range of 118 miles.
Yes. I think
this thing was definitely a railgun.
So, the main reason I think they had this was, at the time, Germany was trying to figure out a way to bomb Britain, because normal bombing did not work, because Britain had very good air superiority. So they came up with two ideas. This is one of them, trying to shoot across the strait.
We'll just shoot across the water.
Yes.
And there's kind of a frontal thing. You can see it's on 2 train tracks. And
it required 2 flak battalions to protect the gun from air attack.
Yes.
Nice.
Now, the other way, which was very successful, was the buzz bomb, which was pretty much the first ever missile.
That was a successful one.
That was very successful, so we're not going to talk about that one.
We don't talk about successful stories here.
No, because they're not interesting at all. Although the buzz bomb's buzz was actually very iconic. Little side tangent. Did you know in Battlefield 5, the buzz bomb noise that they make for it, they couldn't find a real one, obviously. So they found a snowmobile that was powered by a buzz bomb engine.
Yeah, that sounds like... Yep.
Yes. Which is very funny and really, really good. I like how sometimes EA, Battlefield, you may be a buggy mess sometimes, but at least you find good ways to record sounds. Yes. Yeah. Going back to the Gustav rail cannon, a VR game called... That guy is, like, on the sidewalk.
Yeah, he backed up onto the sidewalk.
Yeah, he's, like, fully on... almost... Like, one tire is really on the sidewalk. Jeez.
This man's parking on the sidewalk.
We switched locations. We can see the curb from here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. What is he doing?
This is entertaining. I kind of want to turn the camera around, but I kind of don't.
Yeah, mainly because license plate. Is he doing a U-turn?
No.
No. Okay.
Well, bye-bye.
That was interesting. Sorry, guys. But anyways...
Minnesota winter. There's no rules.
Anyways...
Alright, Minnesota, it's time for a favorite game.
Where are we? Where's the line? Where's the road?
Pick a lane and drive.
Are we on the road?
Imagine 2 lines down the middle of the road and try and stay in them.
Yes.
Those are the tire tracks from the previous person.
I believe the first... where was it? Oh, yes. Medal of Honor, Above and Beyond. That is a VR game in World War II, set in World War II. One mission in the game is you actually go to the Gustav cannon and disable it. With like a thermite charge. Which was really cool because they do shoot it once, and you can see the gun just jump up in the air.
Oh, goodness. That'd be terrifying to see IRL.
Yes. And the scale of this thing in VR is true to what it is in real life, because you walk up, you have to climb stairs just to get to the top of it to disable it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy. Anybody else have some cool weapons? Failures?
I don't have many. I'm not a total gun nerd, as you guys kind of are.
Anything from video game, movie, anime?
Not that I okay. I do know of the... I don't recall what it's called, but it was an actual weapon, but you had to swap the barrel out so often because it was a curved barrel that would go around.
Yes!
Oh yeah, that one.
That was so...
That's the German one. The German curved barrel. There was 2 variants. There's the 90-degree variant and the 45-degree variant. It failed because a bullet doesn't really curve that well and would shatter inside the barrel.
Yep. So eventually they ended up porting the barrel to decrease the amount of pressure, so hopefully it wouldn't shatter. It had a very limited range and accuracy, the few bullets that actually made it out.
Yep.
Yeah, I wonder. They use a standard cartridge for that one, didn't they?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Maybe they would have been better using like a musket ball.
Shotgun shell around.
Yeah,
They used it out of what's that? It was pretty much the very first automatic rifle weapon for troops. I forgot what it's called.
Speaking of failed weaponry, how about the really good rifle? That's basically a clock with the amount of gears it has in it.
I've seen it once.
Here,
What are you talking about?
well, that's not what I want.
Me and my uncle were talking about this one.
What is this? What are you talking about, Thomas? Clockwork.
That's the only thing I can think of to explain it.
The G11, I believe.
Oh.
That one.
Like,
What?
I believe it was a German gun.
Surprised me. Germany's always done some weird, interesting things with
Oh,
weapons. They have a caseless caseless ammo.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the rough picture of it. Of course, you search a clockwork gun and you get a whole bunch of D&D stuff. But, Sleepy Teeth.
The Heckler & Koch G11.
Yeah.
Is this the caseless gun?
Oh,
the gun with caseless ammo?
No, it's basically, it's like a
It looks
German
like a
AR-15.
Yes, it looks like a gun out of sci-fi, to be honest.
Yeah, because it's a brick of clockwork, basically.
Yes.
Non-production prototype assault rifle. Developed from the late 1960s to 1980s.
Yeah.
It was an assault rifle, LMG, for variants. Weighed
Yes,
8
this was
pounds.
the caseless one.
Yep, weighed 8 pounds empty. Yep, caseless ammunition.
Huh.
Gas operated rotary breech. Rate of fire 460 rounds a minute for full auto, 2100 rounds a minute for 3-round burst.
Alright, I need to find this pistol now.
And I believe, didn't they try to sell it to the U.S.?
Yep.
Yeah, they tried to sell it to the U.S.
Primarily a project of West Germany, though it was of significance to other NATO countries. In particular, versions of the G11 were included in the U.S. Advanced Combat Rifle Program.
Yeah. Definitely an advanced weapon, because impossible to repair. Just imagine that.
Yes, it was terrible for
The
field
simplicity of
maintenance.
most guns, and then you have this thing that's basically a clock circuit board.
Yes, with the
Cross section of it.
with military, I sent you an image, but not this one yet. It's not the correct gun. But with military, I'm going to make it this point. To make a effective military rifle, it has to be efficient. It has to work a lot of the time, and has to be very, very easy to clean.
Yeah.
This is why the 1911 and M1 Garand were very, very good guns. They were very easy to clean and to do maintenance on
If
them.
you drop the gun in the mud and you can't wipe the mud off and shoot it, there's an issue.
Yes.
Forgotten Weapons did a video on the G11 caseless hyperburst rifle.
Oh.
Good YouTube channel, by the way, Forgotten Weapons. If you're looking for anything related to guns.
Interesting.
Anyways, Thomas,
Yes.
the picture I sent you,
Yes, indeed.
the picture that Thomas will be putting up on the screen behind me, is the Mars pistol. Now, only about 80 of these things were made. It was Britain's first attempt at making a semi-automatic pistol. The Mars pistol was terrible because it had ejected the casings right into the shooter's face.
When you have like a break action breach shoot.
Yes. So this thing ejected the rounds right around there and went right into the eyes of the person shooting the firearm. Only 80 of them were made, and I want one.
What is that gun?
So yeah, that gun was terrible. They tried getting contracts, but it failed because who would want hot cartridges being sent into their face?
What about the FP45?
That's what I mentioned last time. This is the real life jolt, by the way. Send it up on screen.
Okay.
FP45 Liberator.
Yes, I want one of these too.
It's a single-shot pistol that's basically meant to cover you as you get the shared rifle, right?
Yes, that is correct. I told this, I think, last time Xander was on, I think.
That's a big photo.
I'm not sure. But yeah, you're zoomed in.
I'm not.
Oh.
Oh, I am. There we go.
So yes, how this gun worked was you fired using the little trigger. Then you pulled back this section. Not ejecting the shell, because that would be too easy and too simple. No, you had to grab stick, ram stick down barrel to eject casing. Grab cartridge from this area right here, which is the magazine, slipping this little trap door open, grabbing round, putting it in, priming it the pistol again, and then you're ready to shoot. It is in Battlefield 5, and it's the most inconvenient pistol ever to use, and I had a kill with it, and I loved it.
Yeah, that... Because to save money and ammunition, well, not ammunition, but they had plenty of ammo. They didn't have enough guns. So they shared a gun between, like, a squad. And then this was your personal firearm?
No, this was an American gun dropped to rebellions in France.
Oh, okay.
So they can shoot a German and then take the German's weapon.
Here's your
gun.
gun.
No, you're thinking of the Russian strategy of they had too many people and not enough guns.
Gotcha.
So it was 5 Russians per gun. So you would get a clip of ammo.
Yep.
But when the guy with a gun died, you picked up the gun, and then you had the gun.
Yep.
That was the German strategy.
Russian strategy.
It only worked because... Yeah, Russian strategy. It only worked because it was the middle of Russia or middle of winter in Russia, and Germany tried invading Moscow, but we're all sick because of the cold.
Yeah, that sounds like something that would happen.
It's the Russian tactic of whenever you invade us, we'll just burn all of our farmland, and winter will come and kill you, and then we'll sweep up the scraps.
Russia is basically the cockroach, basically?
Pretty much.
I'm pretty sure that was a tactic they begun developing after the Huns wiped out their entire military force and then decided, you know what, we're too far into Russia, we're just going to turn around and go home.
We're going to go home now.
So Russia was about to be conquered by,
the Huns?
Yeah. No, sorry, not Huns. Mongols. And then the Mongols decided, you know what, we don't want to be here, we're too far away from what we consider our land, so we're just going to leave now.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to France, at the start of World War II, France had actually put together a decent set of bunkers and like machine gun nests as a defensive line that the Germans weren't really able to ever crack down. So the Germans did the logical thing and decided,
we'll go through Belgium.
No, we're going to go around them.
Yes, through Belgium.
They have this nice fortified area. Good for you. We'll go around.
Yeah, they
We'll take the
that.
scenic route.
So, yeah, that line had everything to bury tanks in cement for bunkers.
Yeah.
And everything like that. They just did not think to put the line further up towards Belgium, where Germany did it before.
We'll do it again.
So the Germans love this thing called a blitzkrieg. Now, it failed in World War I because they were too slow. In World War II, it worked very good because they moved very, very, very fast.
You know what's the best part about the Blitzkrieg? The Blitzkrieg was a military idea actually proposed by a British officer. And Britain said, no, that'll never work.
That'll never work. Germans, ooh, let's try this.
Yep, between World War I and World War II, some documents and stuff were published about it. The Germans basically saw it and went, hey, that looks like a good idea, and used it to take over most of Europe.
Almost all of it, actually. It's crazy. If you look at a map of some parts in World War II, Germany was in Africa.
Yes.
After taking off. The best part is, I think it's Swedish was not even, or Switzerland wasn't even invaded.
They
couldn't get through Finland.
No, it was surrounded, and all of it was just Sweden in the middle.
Sweden's neutral.
Yep, neutral. I don't know how they were neutral in World War II. Mainly because Germany didn't want to invade them, because Sweden is a lot like the United States. they have a lot of guns, and every homeowner has a gun.
Yeah, no.
They were too scared
Beat
to
that.
go into that one. And plus, they also have natural cover because of all the mountains in that region.
Mm-hmm.
So it was multiple of all these things.
Yep, and ever since World War II, Poland's gotten screwed over twice now. So anything that America sells military-wise, Poland buys as much of it as they can. I can't remember what it is, but
You know, I think Sweden
there's
and
this-
Canada are like brothers. They're both neutral, but don't mess with them.
Yeah.
Wait,
But-
did you say Canada's like Sweden?
They're like brothers or cousins.
Canada,
They're both neutral, but don't mess with them.
yeah, because Canada does war crimes in maple syrup.
Hey, yeah.
If you look at the list of war crimes that Canada has committed, it puts Germany to shame.
Here's
Yes.
cans of food.
But we
Here's
should get back
grenades.
onto the.
Well, we've talked about guns that have failed, other tanks that have failed. We started off with a battleship that failed. I do actually want to talk about an ironclad from Russia real quick before moving on to my next one. I believe it was called the Novgorod. It was a Russian ironclad from...
Why are your pictures so dang small?
I'm sorry.
So blurry, so small.
Yeah. Anyways, I believe it was 1862, late 1800s. It was shaped like a soup bowl and meant for offshore, long-range artillery fire, effectively, just bombarding the shore defenses.
Interesting.
You ever see a bowl in water and just poke one side of it?
Yeah.
It tends to begin to spin.
Yep.
You've got a ship shaped like a bowl in water, and a gun on one side fires, so it begins to spin.
Yeah.
They could never actually get it to stay straight, even when firing the guns at the same time. It would still end up spinning in one direction.
Beyblade.
All right,
Very
here's a German vehicle. I don't know what you'd really call it, but to create lift, there's two ways.
Two ways to create lift.
Yes, there is. What the original way is a plane and how they would do it. The other way is how this plane did it, which is going next to the water very, very fast and creating a negative pressure area and creating it to float above the water. As you see,
Hovercraft.
air is forced onto the wings to create it, and this plane flew out above the water about inches.
Okay.
It
Here's
wasn't
the
very
question.
high.
Did it actually fly?
Yes, it did get off
Okay.
the water.
It got off the ground.
Yes.
Okay.
You see, it then had torpedo tubes on top. Those are torpedo tubes. I can't
Interesting.
remember what this is called. Let me look real quick. This is... I don't know if I can say that word. Loon class
A chronoplan?
Akarnapon. Yeah.
You said German?
That is Russian.
Russian.
Or Soviet Union, one of the two.
Same thing.
But yeah, here's
Same thing but different.
here's another photo of it actually working. Of it like a few feet in the air. So that
It's
was
just-
That's about as hard as it would get?
Yep.
Okay.
And then it would shoot torpedoes.
So obviously it was terrible because if
It
Water-
boat plane.
yeah,
It boat plane.
that don't fly high. So if
Boat
it
plane,
was
no
storming,
fly, fly.
it did not work real well.
Boat plane, no
But I
fly,
think
fly.
it was for like I think its main reason was trying to find submarines.
Submarine scout.
I
Gotcha.
can't remember the full reason why they did that. But yeah, that was one of the reasons, or one of the many Russian creations that failed.
I see.
Yeah. I need to start finding my next plane. If you have another one,
Well-
go ahead. That's for the sea.
Guns, planes, they're all well and good, but what about the idea of a nuclear mine?
Yes, because that makes complete sense.
Yep.
Right?
The Blue Peacock nuclear mine, a British weapon, 7 point... Oh, my bad. Yeah. A 7.2 ton minivan-sized steel casing holding a plutonium weapon... Wow, I can't English.
Plutonium?
Weapon with a yield of 10 kilotons.
Jesus Christ, I'm terrified of it.
The mines were preloaded to explode in 8 days, no matter what, or they could be effectively manually detonated. Manually detonating a nuclear mine.
Yay!
This, when was it made? During the Cold War, I do believe.
Yeah, this seems like a very Cold War-esque device.
Yep. Because
everyone has the fancy shiny nukes.
the Britons developed it for... According to this, the Britons developed it for NATO to put around the Germany area to repel possible Soviet invaders.
Yep. Also, I think I heard a little bit about this. Didn't it have an issue that it got too cold and the circuitry would freeze?
Correct. So the idea for keeping it warm is they would seal a bunch of chickens and chicken feed in the mine to keep the chickens alive for the 8 days so the circuitry wouldn't freeze.
Chicken-powered mine, guys. Chicken-powered mine. And it's nuclear.
A key component of this mine ended up becoming old-fashioned feed-stored chicken wire to keep the chickens from pecking at the wiring. One was made, but one was actually built, but it was ultimately, the idea was ultimately scrapped. For good reasons.
Yes, for good reason.
I also will end up needing to find this one, but there was originally the idea of building a nuclear hand grenade.
Have you ever heard about the nuclear tank? The nuclear powered tank?
Yes.
That was an interesting one. I'm looking up something else right now.
I just heard this one on a video I was watching, and just the idea of reactive tank armor was something I really enjoyed listening to.
Okay.
That's a thing, actually.
Yeah, it is. It's an actual thing. Tanks are being... This is a more recent thing as well, I do believe. And I believe it actually works. I haven't looked into it too much, but I think it actually works. But the idea of it was tanks getting blown up by shaped charges.
Okay.
Basically what happens is it's an explosive with, I believe, like a... I can't remember what the copper head is it as, but it ends up melting a portion of metal and then squeezing it through a funnel, which then creates a hole through the armor of the tank of just
armor penetrating
metal.
That's just armor penetrating.
Yep.
And also the same concept behind an RPG.
Yep. So the idea for that is, in order to slow down this jet stream that's coming for us, what if we made the tank armor explode outwards?
Oh,
to slow down the explosion.
Yes. So it's pretty much boxes on the side of the tank that will take the brunt first, and then the main armor will take the punch of the armor piercing part.
Yeah. The tank armor explodes away from the tank.
Gotcha.
Yes. It's a one-use armor, so at that point you're vulnerable from one side.
You know, since we're on the topic of tanks now, have you ever heard of turret toss?
Yeah.
Future note to tank designers: let's not put all the ammo around the weakest part of the turret.
Yeah. It's a great game called Turret Toss.
Yes. So, you guys ever heard about the German creation that terrified them to make a countermeasure against it, just in case? So this is more about the countermeasure. But Germans, they made a magnetic hand grenade to connect onto tanks. Now, they thought the United States or any other country would do the same, figure it out. So they made an anti-stick material. Now this is the zinc, or the waffle pattern you see on German tanks.
Okay.
That's that. To make it anti-magnetic.
I'm guessing it uses the Coriolis effect.
No, it's just they slap things on it, so it's not magnetic.
Oh, sad.
I believe it was like zinc or something like that they pasted onto it in a waffle design. So it just didn't stick to it. No, but the United States, we didn't do that. We made actual sticky bombs instead.
This thing stick to anything.
No.
We shove the explosive in a sack, you coat it with grease, and then you throw it.
Yep, that's what it was.
Yep. Yeah, that.
You can see it. You can see it in Saving Private Ryan. Actually,
yeah,
they do it, which is really cool. By the way, great movie. Saving Private Ryan.
For some reason, as soon as you said magnetic grenade, my immediate thought was, okay, now to like the Call of Duty series where they actually use plates for body armor. Throws those grenades stuck. Shit.
Yeah.
This is why we use Kevlar.
But Semtex. We must get to Brennan's favorite one. Nuclear-powered things are very amazing. And of course, our favorite company, Lockheed Martin. These are the images I sent you there, Thomas.
Okay.
This is a nuclear-powered plane.
They were attempting to create an actual Star Destroyer, effectively.
Yes. So, there's a few of them.
it so much.
So this would be a nuclear-powered plane that could be able to stay in the air for about a week, or was it a month, Brennan?
I don't remember.
I believe the only reason why it needed to land was to literally buy or get more resources.
It needed to feed the people.
Yes, the people was the problem in this, if it ever took off.
The fun thing is,
Yes.
each of those little pods on the bottom were for holding a plane.
Yes, I sent you another image of that image too. This was never created because it was so massive. But yeah, I believe also there was a way to connect a Boeing 747 to it.
That's terrifying.
So it did not need to land if it needed to.
Where did it go?
Do in the air refueling.
Yes, but it didn't need refueling. No, it was refueling for the people. That's what it was mainly for.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's massive, pretty much a flying air base,
yes.
which is amazing. Now,
That's
it's time for me to get in the conspiracy side of this. So,
It actually was built.
that is the theory.
Yeah.
The theory
it's just
is
still up there.
yes, this is the theory, because there's only a few runways in the world that this thing could have ever taken off from,
Yeah.
and one of those is our great place in good old
Area 50.
New Mexico. Or is it Arizona? Where's Area 51 at?
I don't know.
I think it's
I
Arizona
didn't
or
go
New
to the
Mexico.
party.
Yeah, neither did I.
Yeah, but anyways, Area 51 has one of the biggest runways in the world, which could support this thing.
I still love that story.
And one night, citizens in that area saw a giant flying V with lights all over it, lifting off from the air with a huge rumbling. One night.
Interesting. So this thing's probably just flying out there. And
Yes,
for
this
some
thing actually
reason-
could be flying up there, and
For some
you see
reason-
those chemtrails, it might be just this thing.
Yeah, and for some reason, we haven't seen it on any amateur radars.
You never know, man.
It would be big enough that other planes theoretically could land on it.
Yes.
Remember, what was it, 2 years ago we had a plane go missing?
Where do you think the planes go when they go missing? Oh, that I saw a concept.
Man, that's actually a pretty good conspiracy theory. I'm over here sitting with a conspiracy theory that chicken's actually a vegetable.
Maybe it is.
But yeah, I want to believe this thing's just flying around the world constantly, and it has like the high tech radar shit. You can't see it at all, and it's just flying around the world. But yeah, that's what that thing is, and it's beautiful.
I don't want to be tall.
The reason I say I think I'm running with a conspiracy theory that chicken is a vegetable is because chickens share 80%, about 70 to 80% of their DNA with a carrot.
We do with corn. We have
You
some
can
corn DNA in us. No.
You can also put them in a salad, which therefore they should be a vegetable. They basically can't fly.
Okay. I don't agree with him, but he makes a valid argument.
Thank you. I don't agree with me either, but it is a valid argument.
Yeah, so that thing was massive,
I swear
and
there
I
was
wish
a
it was
concept
real.
of a mid-air flight recovery system. Basically, a passenger airliner this vehicle could have the airliner land on it in a state of emergency and evacuate people mid-air, and then either drop the aircraft if it needed to, or return with it on the ground.
So effectively, we're sitting over here.
I'm looking for a concept image that I saw once
Dark
before.
Knight Rises in the opening scene when they hijack the plane that Bane is on.
I don't think I've ever never seen Dark Knight.
That's okay.
Basically, bigger plane comes over, fires grappling hooks onto passenger liner, pulls it in, and then they cut their way in, take out the people they need to, and then just drop the plane. They used it to assassinate somebody, though, and then extract their guys off the plane.
Makes sense.
Plane landing on another plane.
It's a shuttle.
Yeah, that's the shuttle. But this... I'm trying to find the image that I know I've seen somewhere before. And Google's not helping me. What the... hello. It was all concept, too, which it's annoying. Okay. Just want to see.
Is that a tracked wheel for a plane?
Yeah, it is.
That is such a bad idea. You're better off with skis and trucks.
Aha! I found it.
Oh.
Airborne rescues. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, there's that concept
The
too. Of
detachable
literally
cabin.
just dropping the cabin with parachutes on it.
Slight issue with the cockpit, though.
No, the
Captain goes
cockpit
down
drops
with the ship.
separately, actually.
Captain goes down with the ship.
So it is still, though, the cabin detaches, but it just detaches it into another
So
plane.
that's the concept. So basically, this plane flies underneath the airliner in distress. It lands on it midair, and they start evacuating.
No, I think that's
passengers.
the opposite way around, buddy. I think it lands on the bottom.
No,
It lifts it up.
no. That the bottom plane flies underneath the plane in distress, which is the top plane in this example.
Yes.
It grabs it, and they start evacuating people onto the bottom plane. It then can just jettison the plane on top once there's no more people aboard, or in some situations they could bring it down to the ground.
Interesting.
It just grabs it. Very interesting, yes.
Yeah.
That is one of the things that I saw that.
I'm trying to think of any. I felt like I had something else too. Of failed stuff. I feel like it was in the Pacific War too.
The specific one.
Pacific. My bad.
I don't know. I'm braining. No braining.
Oh yes, I know. The Yamato style battleship cruiser that the Japanese made. It was terrible. It was made. It was
What
the biggest
about the Sakura bombers?
Japan.
Single use.
Japanese.
Well, I mean, it wasn't
It's
entirely
basically a human.
unsuccessful.
It was basically a human guided missile plane.
I believe Yamato is the biggest ever battleship ever made. Yamato class. Do you want me to send it to you, or are you gonna search it up?
I don't know how to spell Yamato.
It's not the best photo, but you can have this one for sure. But anyways, this is the biggest ever battleship ever conceived in the world.
It is pretty big there.
Yes. But unlike two of them were ever built by Japan because it's such cost material battleship. This thing, I believe, got shot once and blew up because the ammo rack got shot.
Oh, of course.
So it blew up immediately, and I don't know about the other one. The other one survived for a while longer, but after the first one blew up, they were like, we're not going to have this thing on the front lines like we thought we would. But yeah, as you see, it has a lot of battleship guns, and has a lot of guns by its, by the tower in the middle.
Yeah, a lot of guns on that thing, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it blew up immediately when it got shot once by a United States battleship.
Interesting.
United States is definitely something not to mess around with when it comes to war, especially when it comes our naval fleet. We care about our naval fleet a little too much, I think.
We have the biggest naval fleet in the world.
I know.
Not just
But
China, though.
someone shot from land artillery at the battleship. And the battleship took away the hill.
Have you ever heard of the battleship that quite literally leaned back to hit its targets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Texas, I do believe, right?
Yes.
They flooded a portion
flooded
of the ship so that they could lean the
back
back and arc the shots so they would go farther.
They're playing Shell Shock Live over here.
Quite literally, the ship said, Kobe.
I hate that. I really just hate that.
It's such just an American thing to do. Just like magnetic grenades, that's a stupid idea. Grease.
Yes.
Grease.
But yeah, that's what that ship did. It helped on D-Day, and it was amazing.
Yeah, that...
Now, here, I'm going to test your guys' thing. A little trivia.
All right.
What is the name of D-Day?
Like, what does the D in D-Day stand for?
No.
Are you talking about
What's the actual
Project
name?
Overlord or
Yes. Correct.
Operation Overlord?
Operation Overlord is the actual correct name for D-Day. It's Operation Overlord.
I need to bring Memoir 44 to the apartment to play because that's fun. It's a board game.
Okay.
Really good.
M144, that's a gun.
Memoir.
Right? Oh, Memoir.
But yeah, that's the actual name of D-Day. It is D-Day is an actual military term, meaning that the day of the operation happens. That is D-Day.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I forgot what the days before the operations are called, but
A, B, C.
no, it's not. I think it's like actual like something day or something like that.
Okay.
Someone comment it if you know it. But yeah, how are we looking on time?
We are just about to wrap it up here.
Alrighty.
I am out of weaponry. There's probably something I'll remember right after we get done recording.
I am out of like actual weaponry. I have a few weapons from Legacy Star Wars, so the old books that were not necessarily failures, but experimental, and they were just fun.
Proto Saber? If you want to talk about the Proto Saber, we got to talk about Hacksmith.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm thinking more of like the Galaxy Gun, which was one that was actually used.
You know, I know of a weapon that people didn't think was a weapon, but you know, we could consider it as. You guys ever heard of the manhole cover that went to space before our spaceships did?
Yeah.
You know, the first man-made object to...
Yes, ever
go to
reached
space.
space. So, the United States military decided to plant a nuclear bomb in a underwater cave, I believe.
Was it underwater or just underground?
I think maybe it was an aquifer or something.
Underground
like that.
testing, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, underground testing.
So we put
facility.
a manhole cover. I think it was like 1 inch.
It was a big manhole.
It was a big manhole cover.
I'll look it up.
We blew it up, and we only have one frame of the video of that manhole cover. One frame.
One frame. And was it a high-speed camera it was on?
Yes. It was a
Yeah.
high-speed camera of that time. And we have one frame of that manhole cover.
So
That manhole cover went to space.
We can't even get an accurate calculation of how fast it was going because it's only one frame. But we can make guesses.
Yeah, it was enough. Everybody's in agreement. It was enough, enough momentum, enough power
That it could have
that
left the solar system.
could
It
have
was-
left the solar system and went to space.
It was a 2,000-pound iron lid welded over the borehole.
Ah.
Yeah, that thing went to space.
Yep.
And it's probably the first thing aliens are gonna see of us.
What's that?
Yes. But that's all we have for time.
Yep. Thank you very much for tuning in and listening to us do us ramble here.
Ramble about weapons that fail.
Yeah.
I hope
If you'd like to
enjoyed
check
it.
out our studio here, I can't speak apparently. Streetside Studio 7 in Deja Blue, located right on Broadway. And check out our Discord, link below, and check this place out. It's amazing.
Yeah. I had this nice drink today and it was very delicious. But have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
So long.